Hi, I'm Pamela Schoenberg, the owner and director of DNJ Gallery. We're starting this art and med program, and please listen to this conversation.
My first question is, when did you first fall in love with art, and why did you have to be part of the art world?
You're asking about the art world, specifically my involvement. I guess in college I first started liking, photography is what I first started in the arts. And I went into college, undergrad, kind of undecided, and then I transferred into the art school. And about my sophomore year, and I, you know, finished with a BFA and then went on to get my master's and decided that that's what I was going to do. With the first with the intention to teach, and then as soon as I moved to Los Angeles, I got enamored with the museum, the education world. It's showing and more exhibiting, so I went that direction instead, and that's what I try to do with my gallery. Is I instead of with a focus on like the commercial setting, I try more to like educate and teach and install that way.
To add on about art galleries, because there's different ways people can see art now. The art gallery experience, why is it such a unique format for art lovers and collectors to learn more about new art and artists?
I feel like the art gallery is more accessible than I don't know. A museum seems a little bit more intimidating, and then there's many more galleries around any town than there are specific museums, and they can be, they don't have to be about a specific subject, or they can be, and they just seem more accessible.
And why is art good for the soul?
um, art, you're asking specifically about the art for this art. How is art good for the soul? And I feel like art can mean anything to anybody. And um, I don't know. You can understand the art. You can see the art visually. You can, there's different ways to come about like looking at the art, but but it it's all it all just it's something else to focus on in this world where there's so much going on that it's more your own interpretation.
And also, do you want to talk about how instead of going online, you're clicking that you're actually walking around and experiencing it live at the location?
Oh, I totally agree with um the physical aspect of being in a gallery, of being, seeing art firsthand instead of on the screen. Because art is, even if it's a two-dimensional object like a painting or a photograph, it's still three-dimensional with the frame, and you have the whole experience instead of just looking with your eyes. You can feel, it's part of the whole thing, walking through. And art joins, because there's many pieces, they become part of a whole.
And one last thing, do you want to also add how having a curator or a person that talks about art or the artist being there, how that changes the experience for some?
Well, it depends on what's the for the curator aspect is what you're asking. I don't know. I always like explaining the art, and how I actually putting things together in a pattern, kind of. And it just it I don't know, in the beginning, it helps the visitor see what's going on, what how to read it, and how to feel comfortable. It starts that initial experience of being more comfortable, and then after that, you do have your own experience. But in the beginning, it helps start it.
So you kind of would say it add an additional dialogue to the experience.
Oh, definitely. I think it adds a dialogue to the experience, and it adds that I don't know. It depends on how much background you have in the arts and how much on the history or the whatever the art is about, it adds to that beginning.
When did you first launch the DNJ Gallery, and tell us about the new mission of the gallery concerning charitable and educational purposes?
I started the gallery in 2007, and I had it as a contemporary photography gallery, and we showed many different artists until about 2020, and then I closed it during the pandemic for many reasons. The pandemic was kind of a last straw, that because I was trying to, do certain things and it wasn't possible. And then I went back to school and became a health coach and before I was, but then became even more um, interested in animation and interested in prevention and I don't know, just about these chronic health conditions. And I learned a lot about nutrition, and I saw that the world, wasn't didn't know what they were experiencing, basically. So I saw an exhibit with Ted Meyer. He's an artist in residence at the Keck School of Medicine, and he just I guess he was working at the med school, and he curated exhibits about what the students were learning in their textbooks so they could see visually and what was going on. And I decided, because of, that was a great idea. And I wanted to, raise more awareness and education and try to, it was Los Angeles is a big city. So it was more on the West Side where that wasn't being done, but it was also a different kind of audience. It was some of the people that I've worked with in the past, and that have, local people that came in, and it was a little bit more of a kind of conceptual art, which is what I showed in the first place. And so I decided to work with the foundations and try to like I said, educate and about these diseases. And so I changed the mission to study, these chronic diseases. The question is, why is it important to create this art and med program? I began this program as a way to combine my two passions, art and health. Art became a tool to visualize and support healthy living. To begin, many of my family members have chronic health conditions. It took some time for my brother to realize the necessity of movement and to halt the progression and begin recovery. My son sees a future that he's always wanted, brought about by a focus. And my father finally understands that work creates that possibility of a better life. It is important to emphasize the hope, the goal, that you yourself are a participant in your own well-being. I would like to help connect the dots and to prove that it's within your own power to potentially resolve that biological embedding. I'm proud to become a part of your discovery and aid in your struggle to overcome obstacles. Hi, I'm Pamela Schoenberg, and the owner and the director of DNJ Gallery. Our Art and Med program, we're trying to show art about different chronic conditions and chronic diseases, and more as an inspiration and education to teach about the certain condition. So please come see. That would be great. Thanks.